I'm shocked. I'm in a little bit of awe here right now. I have friends, family, acquaintances, maybe a couple enemies, I don't know. Some that I haven't seen for literally 30 years. So I thank you all for taking the time out on a Sunday night to come hang with everybody here. You're about to have a really, really, really good time. Everybody on this stage is special to me in some way or another, and through the night you're going to hear a lot of stories, a lot of music, a lot of fun, a lot of smiles, a lot of sarcasm, a lot of dirt. They have stories on me, guys. Costs a lot of money to keep those under the rug. But before we get to all of that, I'm going to just open the night and have some fun. We're going to play a tune that I did on an album of mine way back. The album was called That's What I'm Talking About. And it was a cool arrangement that I ripped off the arrangement, so don't think it was me that being that special. But it's a great tune from a little band by the Beatles. You might have heard of them. Nobody's heard of the Beatles? Just checking. We might have to start all over if that's the case. Ripped off from a great flute player named Dave Valentine. It's called With a Little Help from My Friends. Put your hands together for this amazing band right here. All right, so I'm done. Thank you. You've heard all the notes that I have. Before we go any further, I got to let you know who this band is. Because I called them, I had this idea a while back, right? November-ish, holidays-ish. Might have had too many eggnogs and said, hey, I had a great idea, let's have a gig. And so I called, the first guy I called was the next sax player, but we'll get to him. But I called him because I wanted this bass player that I've heard of and knew about and was in high school when he was born. But he was in New York City, so I was like, I don't know if he can get up here. It's kind of a long trip, but it's closer than Florida, and I'm going to be there, so why can't he be there? So I called him, and I said, hey, we haven't played together, I don't know, but like one time in the past some 20-some years. And he was more than gracious to say, yes, I'm going to be there and come up and play the gig. So put your hands together for the one and only Mr. Ben Tiberio right here. Ben has gone on to become one of the premier bass players in New York City. If you don't know this, you need to know. And if you don't think you need to know, I'm just going to tell you. He's like one of the guys everybody wants to call now. So he's playing with one of my favorite saxophone players named Chad L.B. in New York City. So Bill and I are going to go fly to New York City in April and go heckle him on the front of the stage and watch him play with one of my guys that I love to see. So he's playing at Birdland in New York City. He's all over the world. One of the best bass players you're going to witness. So thank you for being here, Ben. Then there's John and Matt. So let's go to... No. On piano, this guy, I don't have as much of a history with you. We did one gig, and then when I called you to do the gig, I had forgotten that we did that gig together. And I was quickly reminded by everybody else that I talked to. They're like, Mike, you played with John. I'm like, oh, crap, I did play with John. So I was happy to have him play. If you ask about who to get as a piano player, his name is at the very top of the list from the Eastman world, from the Rochester world. He's an institution. Put your hands together for John Nyerges right here on the keys. And then there's this guy. This guy, I worked with Bill Tiberio's band at a little place called Stromboli's. Anybody been to Stromboli's? Normally we would do a gig there, but I don't think we would fit. So we've decided to move over here. Matt was introduced to me by Bill, and we played there together, and he was the guy that can do everything. You do everything, man. You know that, right? There's very few guys that can play that straight ahead old school jazz and then turn around and play a Latin tune and then turn around and play a funk tune, and it feels like he means it in all of the scenarios. It's a very hard thing to do for some guys, and he nails it. So put your hands together right now for Matt Bevan-Perkins on the drums. All right. So there is going to be some storytelling tonight. We will play a lot of music, I promise you that. But the storytelling starts here. This is my first guest of the evening. I'm sort of going in chronological order. So this goes back to my middle school years. And I became a saxophone player at a young age with a couple great saxophone teachers in my life before him, which, oddly enough, I still keep in contact with in Florida, Lou DiBonzo. And this guy right here. I was introduced to jazz by two other really good friends that are sitting in this room tonight that came up here from a little bit further south here. And it's my honor to have them here right now. Bob and Bill Lewis are right over there. Put your hands together for them. They introduced me to jazz as a kid going to the Geneseo Jazz Ensemble way back in the day. And a guy named Brian Scanlon was playing alto and Frank Mokel was playing tenor. Brian Scanlon went on to play with Gordon Goodwin in the Big Fat Band, so he's doing that in L.A. Both of who that I've run across in years past and have had a pleasure talking to them about the old times. But if it weren't for them, I wouldn't have the interest in what I saw then to keep it going for all these years. Then I met this guy in middle school, And you were student teaching, right? He was a real teacher. Okay. Nothing fake. He was a real teacher. That shows you how much I paid attention in school. So I met this guy, and I don't know that you could actually have a better plate handed to you, a silver platter handed to you for all the tools that you need to become a good musician, more than this guy gave us all. We had a listening room, we had the jazz band, we had all the trips, we had the concerts, we had the friendship, we had the making fun of marching band together. All of the things were all part of this whole thing. And he introduced me to so many people and so many things. So without further ado, my soul brother, Mr. Bill Tiberio.
There's a few musicians in the room, so incredibly daunting for all of us here. Just letting you know. But you know, Rochester is an incredibly supportive group of friends who play this music and get out and hear each other. So on behalf of all of us that are playing, thank you so much for coming out and supporting us. It means the world. It means Thank you very much. That was a tune called Sunday Morning, written by John Nyerges. So the format of this is, first of all, it's an incredible crowd. Thank you so much for coming and sharing. It's just great. We knew that people would be interested in this show, but we didn't realize it'd be so crowded. So thank you so much for coming out on a Sunday night and sharing this with us. The format is that we're going to each have a chance to talk just a touch about Mike and how we connected. I'm just humbled to be part of this incredible event and these four other saxophone players. I mean, incredible musicians, just beautiful, beautiful musicians. So thank you for Mike and for including me. There's no greater, truer heart in the business than Mike MacArthur. It's totally true. Now, if you know him, you know that's true. And there are people here that he that he met years ago that he has continued to stay in touch with. He is somebody who has always showed his gratitude to everybody. So, I know I'm going to pick on you, and I'm going to in a second, but I really have to say that Mike is an unusual person in his gratitude, and it comes through in his playing. It just does. Now, he never wanted to do anything in life other than play the saxophone. It absolutely did not want to, which included not going to classes most of the time. Now, as I was young, I did not really help, and I'm apologizing to his dad. I was like, Mike, can you skip third, fourth, fifth, and sixth period? We're going to record something together. He'd be, I'm there. And so I was not part of the solution. I might have been part of the problem. I was young and dumb. And I want to mention Mike's dad, who has been his greatest supporter. Now, the other night, Mike and I are out, and I said, do you think your dad could make this show? And because when it first was on Facebook, Mike Sr. said, I'm there. I'm going to be there. And Mike said, no, he's being such a jerk. He's just not going to come, and there's no good reason for him. So he flies here, unbeknownst to Mike, and surprises him. Mike walked in like 2 hours ago, and there's his dad sitting there. So Mike Sr., you mean the world to him. You absolutely mean the world to him. Yeah, my dad is being such a jerk. He won't even tell me why he can't come, and that he shows up. So, and that's just like Mike Sr. So in the process of not attending many classes, one thing that got Mike really in trouble was phys ed. And if you are like me and you hated phys ed too, and I apologize if there are phys ed teachers here, but it was really a tough class for all of us to get through, and Mike didn't go. So about 3 weeks before graduation, he had to make up 64 gym classes. This is not an exaggeration. And the way you made up gym classes, I've got a student here, I think you could probably attest to this, is he power walked. He walked every period for 9 periods in a row for like a week, for an absolute week. So the year that Mike graduated, 1993, I was selected to speak to the graduating class. And one of the plans we had was to do some music, and Mike was going to be a big part of that. Now, if Mike didn't get 64 gym classes in about 2 weeks, we weren't going to see him at graduation. So he came up to me, and there was a teacher, I think her name was Pam Worsbicky, who saved Mike's butt. And after like the 39th power walk class, there were a lot of laps. She said to him, you're done. I'm going to pass you. And Mike comes in and tells me this in the hall, and I'm in front of a whole bunch of students, and I in joy let out a less than appropriate word because and I was so aghast, and Mike was just laughing like, did you say that? And I said, I'm afraid I did. I need to apologize. There's all these students that look up to me, and I just used a terrible language, but it was used in a positive way because this phys ed teacher saved Mike's graduation. Now, as it turns out, that he has had a life of playing music and playing the saxophone, and it's turned out just beautifully. And he's done a bunch of other things, and he's got his hands in a lot of different business propositions, but he applies what he's learned in music to all of those. And he's a great businessman, and he's a great husband and father, and his daughter thinks the world of him, and they're going to catch this video at some point. But he and I are going to play a tune that we first recorded together with a band called Marshall Waters. Remember this in like 1992. Jeff, do you remember this, or you guys? And we found this tune. It was from the movie, the Spike Lee film. What's the film? Mo Better. It's called Mo Better. It's hard to remember the name of the tune. More Better Blues is the name of the film. Sorry, just catch up. And so this is a tune we did like 30 years ago, and we're going to redo it right now. And he put it on his latest record with Brian Bromberg. It's called Mo Better Blues.
Tiberio. All right, so I have a special surprise. And I hope you guys can join me in welcoming a friend of mine virtually. Is that okay? Can we do that? Can we do a virtual thing? I'm hoping that the connection is good enough. There he is. He's good. Anybody heard of a little band called the Rippingtons? Anybody heard of that sax player that played with him called Jeff Koshua? How many Jeff Koshua fans here in the house tonight? This guy played a big part of my life. Can we turn this mic on? So, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Jeff Koshua. All right, let me turn this up. We got you.
Okay, well, hello, everybody. Good evening. This is quite a crowd. I wish I could be there instead of in Mike's little iPhone. But listen, all I can say, he was asking me to tell some dirt about him, and I've got none, because I only know him to be a very genuine and sweet person, and I so much respect, from tenor players they meet, or saxophone players in general, but specifically tenor players. It's all about the sound and the passion, and certainly Mike overflows with both. Huge sound, huge passion when he plays. And so I've always admired players like that, and I certainly admire Mike. He's someone who I consider to be, he always, maybe because I'm older, I consider him to be a role model, because he does it right, does life right. Both nice balance with the music and the family and everything else. And you're right, the steaks on the grill are fantastic.
All right, will you come back to Florida? Come back to Florida, and I'm making you some steaks. So everybody, make some noise for this guy, a very special guy in my life that I wish could have been here, but he's here virtually, and we love you. Love you, brother. We'll talk soon. Thanks for being here, and enjoy Seattle for us. Is it raining like it always is out there? It's sunny. Wow, special day. So, all right, Jeff, love you, brother. We'll talk soon. See ya. Yeah, Jeff's he's a special guy, so. If he didn't have a recording session from the college that he works at out in Seattle, he would have literally been here. He was really looking forward to it, but couldn't make it. So on to the next special person in my life. This guy, while I was in high school with Tiberio, I took lessons at this little school you might have heard of named Eastman School of Music. Anybody? And this guy, you were doing masters at that time? Or we don't remember, it's so many years ago. But I used to go, and my parents used to drive me over to the Annex building, and I used to go for my lessons, and Mike used to get out the metronome, and then he would turn off the metronome, and it would just be that light flashing, and I had to play perfectly in time, and then I realized how much I sucked at it, and then I had to go back and practice it at home again, and then I came back to the lesson, and then I realized how much I still sucked at it, and then I realized how good Mike was because he could play everything that he ever does in all 12 keys, and I realized how much I sucked at that too, and he became, oddly, from all of that beatings, and mostly myself, on being hard on myself, became a super inspiration to become a great saxophone player, and taught me some of the fundamentals that I have taken with me to this very day to become what I am. So, without further ado, I'm going to give you another one of my heroes right here on the stage. Put your hands together from the Ithaca College. Made the nice long trip over here. Mr. Mike Titlebaum. Give it up.
Oh, thank you so much. All right, I'm just very quickly, because I know we've got a lot of amazing saxophonists who are going to play. So first of all, it's such a pleasure for me to be here. I'm from Rochester originally, grew up in Brighton, and one of my heroes growing up was Bill Tiberio. So the fact that I get to be here playing with Bill, and a few years ago, I reached out to Bill and I said, Bill, what would you think about coming down to Ithaca College and helping me teach a little bit? And because Bill only does 8 things over his full-time job, he could add a 9th or a 10th thing. That's just the kind of guy he is. So Bill comes down once a week now and is helping me teach, and the students are absolutely the better for it. I walked into your rehearsal on Wednesday, and I just thought, oh yeah, that's why Bill Tiberio is the solid teacher and musician he is. Just getting to watch you for 5 minutes, Bill, was something really special. So. And of course, Mike MacArthur, he mentioned that that we met. Yeah, I guess I was in college. I don't remember, Mike, how old I was. You know these chapters of your life? They're a little bit hazy after 30-something years. You know, great. You're not gray at all. I don't know how you managed to do that, but yeah, whatever. So what I remember of that time was actually there was another student you went to high school with, and who came to me and wanted to take lessons with me. And my recollection was that she may have started first. I don't remember what order it was. I just remember all of a sudden I was teaching both of you, and there was a little bit of competition, just a little bit. And you know, competition can be a healthy thing, and competition could be a negative thing. And in this case, I watched the two of them just go absolutely sky high, just really achieve amazing things. Just having each other to bounce things off of, and there was a little bit of tension there, just a little bit, right? Just a little. And then after that couple of years that we worked together, we wound up just being friends and colleagues. And Mike and I roomed together in New York City, and then I think my first teaching job was down in Florida, and then you were at Florida State, right? We just kept following each other around the country. Oh, geez. So, anyways, I'm so thankful, Mike, for you to keep me in your life, and have you in my life after all these years. So what do you say we play something together, Mike? I do call things in all sorts of weird keys, you know, so that's, like you said.
Mike Titlebaum. I'm having so much fun. Are you guys having a good time? A couple other people I need to make you aware of that made all this stuff happen is our wonderful sound guy right over here. Bill Hooper is right there sitting at the soundboard. Without him, I couldn't hear a darn thing up here, so he's making all the magic happen. It's all his fault. Also, I have this being recorded for future endeavors with all these little screens that are around here, and his name is Julio right over there. Put your hands together for Julio. Julio's been working all day long. He started at 9 o'clock this morning. We had if you don't know me, I grew up in Fairport. Went to Fairport High School. I kind of skipped over that earlier when I walked over here. I think most people know, but in case you didn't, I went to Fairport High School, graduated in '93. Went to Florida State School of Music for a year. Did not like Tallahassee. Mike Titlebaum showed up. Went back to Manhattan School of Music, lived with Mike, went on the road, and I'll get to that in my next chapter. And then came back to Rochester all the time because I have a lot of friends and family that live here, and ended up opening up one of the businesses that I have in Florida is a CBD business. And my store's over in Webster now, and I have one of my dear friends running that store. His name is Alex. He's right there. Brother of one of my best friends from high school, which his name is John, who's right there. And the list of high school friends in this room right now is a little bit overwhelming for me right now. Michelle is here. Matt is here. Yeah, I'm going to forget people because I can't remember all of them. Jeff is here. Who am I forgetting? Joel is here. Good. Joel we played our graduation together, didn't we? We played a lot together in your basement. I remember your basement, wasting a lot of time playing music. It was great. So this brings me to my next guy who I'm bringing up to the stage. When I was out of school in Florida in about '97, a buddy of mine who has been playing with Billy Joel for about 17 years, his name is Carl Fisher. He's still currently with Billy Joel right now. Back then, he was working with a little guy. Anybody heard of a little guy named Maynard Ferguson? Carl was on Maynard Ferguson's band and told me to send in my little audition tape. Tape. Do you guys know what a tape is? Okay, see, your dad's a drummer though, so I get it. I thought he was blowing me off, so I didn't send it. And a few weeks later, he said, "Mike, where's your stuff?" And I was like, "You were actually serious." So I sent it, and then a week or two later, I actually got a plane ticket. And I went to the first gig. I flew to South Carolina, into Columbia, South Carolina. And I was scared out of my gourd to go do this gig because it was a little bit of a different realm for me than I was used to playing. And I show up to the gig, and the alto player next to me, and I don't know if I've ever really told you this, Mike, scared the living crap out of me. because of how good he was. And he was a burnin' alto player. And I don't know that he knows this until maybe right at this very moment, but I learned a lot from him from 2 years on the road with him kicking my butt, playing as well as he does. So it's my honor to bring to the stage from Syracuse University, the one and only Mike Dubaniewicz.
Thanks. We're going to open up my little portion of the program with a tune by Jobim entitled Corcovado. And how about another hand for this great rhythm section, by the way? Cats are killing it. This microphone tastes funny. But I'm not here for stand-up comedy, folks. I'm here to play some music, and we're going to feature John on piano on this one. And once again, this is Corcovado. Thank you. John on the piano. Swinging cats in a bossa nova sort of way. So for our next tune, Mike and I are going to play together. But since we're telling stories about Mike, I only have 13 of them, but I'm going to narrow it down to 2. And the first one is, it's not really a story, it's more of an anecdote. So Mike and I were together on my first year in the band, I think, on Maynard Ferguson's band. And, the band configuration in terms of the winds was 3 trumpets, 1 trombone, and 2 saxophones. And I was so glad when Mike got there because the 2 saxophone section actually sounded like a freaking 5 saxophone sax section because he had such a big tone. So the moral of the story here for all you wind players is learn to play loud and things will be great. But it was a great saxophone section as it was. The unisons were fantastic, Mike. And the other, Mike, you did that tour in Thailand, right? Yeah. So, a little bit of the story. It's not a story. It's just a recollection. Mike and I played with Maynard in Thailand for a command performance for the King of Thailand, whose name was King Bhumipol Adulyadej, who was a semi-pro saxophonist and trumpet player, and we were wheeled out by presidential motorcade to the Summer Palace, and we were sat down on a stage with the band, and we had stand fronts and everything, and there was a stack of about 60 charts. Remember this? Lead sheets. And so the attaché comes to us, and the guy, his name was Eddie. He had gone to Syracuse University. He was from Thailand. He was the Thai attaché, but he learned his English from American TV game shows. So he would get on the mic when he spoke English, just, "Hey, ladies and gentlemen, how are you tonight? Maynard Ferguson." Then he's going talking in Thai again. So he got us up there, and he's like, "Yeah, the king wants to play these tunes," and so we got a stack of these 60 tunes sitting on the bandstand, and I'm thinking to myself, okay, we're gonna play a few of these, and it'll be a couple hour or 2, whatever. So wouldn't you know it, the king wanted to play every single tune. We flipped the first tune over through tune 1 through 60. I swear to God, we were there for like 4 or 5 freaking hours straight, playing with the king of Thailand, and that's the end of the story. But I mean, there's other stuff that I can't remember really that happened with me and Mike, but I'm sure he'll come up with some stuff.
It was like the royalty factor was like, we stood there in this little palace, and it's his little music room, and Maynard had brought him a gift. And when you go there, it's customary to bring the king with a gift. The king, now mind you, the king was like loved by every single person, and his picture was on their currency. He was like the guy. So whenever they came, what artist came would bring him a gift. I got to present the King of Thailand with a saxophone that Maynard brought him. The funny part was, after I gave it to him, he basically, in so many words, said, "Just put it there with all the others." There were like 500 gifts behind him. So it was like, okay, well, thanks for the gift, but I have a couple that are a little bit nicer than this one. So it was just a little thing. But, the one last thing about that trip, now that you brought it up, we were expecting a really cool dinner in Thailand. In Thailand. With the band at the King's Palace. We're like, dude, we're in for it. This is going to be the best. We had like cold lobster tail and French fries and broccoli because they wanted to make us feel like we were home. It sucked. The best part of it was the Thai fruits that we had, which was kind of fun and everything. But he also had a servant who stood on his knees and held a platter with a glass of water while he played. And the only direction I remember getting from Big Daddy was, when the king plays a saxophone, if you're playing a solo, shut up and sit down. That was our direction. That was the only direction we had, and we did, and it was a good thing. But Mike and I had a couple awesome years on the road, and this is one of the songs we used to play with Boss. So rest his soul, Mr. Maynard Ferguson, our boss, the man himself. Here we go. Let's do it. You're going to know what this song is.
How about it for Matt on the drums? How about it for Ben on the bass? And John on the piano, holding it together. Thank you, cats. It don't mean a thing if it ain't got that swing.
That's right. Mike Dubaniewicz right here, the man, the myth, the legend. It's like we never left Maynard's band. I'm not lying and telling you that he scared me when I first heard him play. All right, so we're reaching the end. No, I'll come back. Will you come back if I do this again? I got some ideas. I'll tell you that right now. I got a lot of ideas. All right, so this next guy has been not in my life as long, but the chair that he holds has been one that's coveted by pretty much every tenor sax player that's ever lived. If you're a tenor sax player, first of all, by show of hands, has anybody heard of a guy named Lenny Pickett? Apparently you don't know how to follow directions. By a show of hands, that means up or down. Lenny Pickett. Okay, so we're split, right? Lenny Pickett. Okay, let me ask one more question. How many people know the show Saturday Night Live? How many people listen to the band at the end of the credits when they're playing that song that goes out and it's like, oh, that's fun, blah, blah, blah. That's Lenny Pickett. Lenny Pickett became famous by playing in a little band called Tower of Power. There we go. I just saw light bulbs go off all across the heads here. This next guy holds Lenny Pickett's chair from decades ago and has for the past 22 years. And as a tenor player myself, who comes out of the more funk and soul end of the world, have looked up to this guy. He doesn't even know when I started listening to him play, because he's older. Yeah. But I have listened to him for 22 years. And to meet him and become friends with him and share the stage with him, with having him graciously invite me onto the stage with Tower of Power, which we did last night. My first time with the band with Tower of Power was sitting in Clearwater, Florida, which was my home now, although Rochester will always be home. Yes. We had a great time in Clearwater, and since then I've got an open invitation from not only him, but Emilio and Doc and the guys in the band who are just the most amazing people you will ever want to meet in your life, which is why the band has been around for 55 years. And last night was like none other than we did Niagara. Where was it? Niagara, the OLG Theater over in Niagara, and Tower of Power lit it up like they always do with this man on saxophone. Welcome to the stage. He's already here. My good friend, the one and only Mr. Tom Politzer right here. Give it up. Show him some love.
That's a good story because, we actually only met last November for the first time. No, I'm just kidding. Anyway, Mike, since I met Mike, like you said, we haven't known each other a super long time. And when did I meet you? Maybe like 5 years ago, 6 years ago, 7 years ago, somewhere. But he just started playing with us from the moment he sat in. And, I love his playing. I'm just, I wish I could sound like that. It's like one of those things. I tried and I can't. But everything everybody said about Mike MacArthur is absolutely true. He is the most magnanimous, friendly, open-hearted, generous person as anybody I've ever met. So, and I'm honored that he invited me to this event, and I'm a little bit pissed that he made me go last, but I'll deal with that. All right. So we're going to do a tune by Claire Fisher. It's called Morning. It's kind of we're going to try to do a little Latin funk kind of vibe. Thank you very much. How you doing, Mike? Who wrote this next tune? Is this a Jocko tune? No. Do you remember who wrote this? Oh, that's right. We're going to do a Pee Wee Ellis. Who knows who Pee Wee Ellis is? Well, better than I thought, actually. Anyway, Pee Wee Ellis is a tenor player, funk, R&B soul guy, who's in his probably 80s now. You should all check him out if you don't know where he is. It's called The Chicken.
Tom Politzer right here. Give it up. I know, I'm a little hot. Wow. We made it. You get to go home tomorrow. He's been on the road, a lot of hours, not a lot of sleep. He was a little grumpy. No, he was very nice. Maybe I was grumpy. It was late. I had a couple drinks last night. Was up early. Long day. I have to thank a couple more people, and that's everybody that works here at Lovin Cup. Show them some love. Thank you for hosting us. Thank you for doing all you do. I'm not sure that you expected this on a Sunday night, but we love you for it. That's why you're the Lovin Cup. Comedy is my next career, right? I could also tell you that looking around this crowd right now, Rochester has a wealth of talent right here. And when I say a wealth of talent, like we could leave the stage and another band could come up here and play and you would have just as much fun. So do me a favor, go out and support some live music. You have venues like this. You have guys running education departments like Mike Titlebaum and Mike Dubaniewicz and Bill Tiberio. Support the people that they are teaching. It's imperative for us to keep this alive and keep it going. Yeah, John Vivanti, right? There's too many to mention. If I forgot anybody. Okay, one more show of hands. Did we learn how to do this last time? Do you understand the concept here? By show of hands, how many musicians do we have in here? Professional Rochester musicians. Look at this. They go all the way back into that room back there. So thank you all for taking a night off and coming, enjoying this. It's pretty silly. It's pretty humbling. And it's pretty awesome to come to my hometown. I couldn't do this in Tampa. It's really weird. I live in Tampa. I'd have like this table there. And so thank you all for coming and showing us some love. I'm going to bring all the sax players back up right now. We're going to literally just take it home. There's nothing better. When I sent them the email for this gig and all the tunes that we're doing, I think it said the last tune we're going to do was something like, we're going to do the greasiest, funkiest, slap your mama, take it home, shuffle, feel good blues. And somehow they all knew what it meant. So we're going to do that for you right now. One more time for this amazing band. John Nyerges on keys. Matt Bevan-Perkins on the drums. From New York City, Mr. Ben Tiberio on the bass. In my life, Mike Titlebaum, Tom Politzer, Mike Dubaniewicz, Bill Tiberio. Feel free to dance. Feel free to drink. Feel free to make noise. Take all the pictures you want. Plaster it with social media. You're witnessing some of the best saxophone players in upstate New York right here tonight on this stage. I'm very proud to be here. I'm very proud to call Rochester home. My dad is here from Florida. I didn't know that until I got here tonight, and I walked through that door, and he was sitting in that bar stool, and I was like, I talked to you 2 hours ago, and he was in the parking lot. So thanks for coming up, Dad. I love you. To all my friends, family, acquaintances, new friends, thank you for taking the night to come join us. We'll see you next time. for these guys. Bill, Mike, Tom, John, Ben, and Matt. Thank you so much for coming out. It has been an absolute pleasure. Thank you to Lovin Cup. Thank you for everybody here. Thank you. Hooper, give it up. Sounding good because of Hooper.
Pain.
Julio,
We felt your
thank you,
ache.
Rochester. We'll see you next time. Have a great night.